Hey guys, it's Sadie. Before we get started, I wanted to talk to you about my friends over at Polar Bear Plumbing, Heating, and Air. Right now, they are running a amazing special. It's their spring tune-up. It's only $99. Let me tell you why this is so important, because you may say, gosh, we've had our AC unit in for a long time and it's never had an issue. Well, you may be spending extra money because you're running it so hard because it's not running as well as it should. That's where they come in. Polar Bear Plumbing, Heating, and Air. Preventative AC maintenance. They change the filters, they clean the sensors and condensers, and they do everything to make sure that you're going to be comfortable during the hot season. And it's going to be hot before you know it. So make sure you are prepared. And again, you may think, well, I think it's running fine. I mean, it's been years and it's never had a problem. You could be spending a lot of money trying to run it as hard as you want to over the summer. So go see my friends today, polarbearpha.com. That's polarbearpha.com, and ask them about the spring tune-up sale they've got going on. Polar Bear Plumbing, Heating, and Air is a proud sponsor of Sadie and Friends.
I'm going to say the thing you're not supposed to say.
Let's talk about marriage.
They have like a 2-second rebound rate and you're back doing the next pain in the ass thing.
Parenting. Oh my gosh.
They have sucked the pretty right out of me. They treat me like it, and I do their laundry. Lucky me.
Sex.
I'm caught between two evils. I generally like to take the one I never tried.
Scary stuff like ghosts. I know it's totally out of left field, but just go with me on this.
Boo, you whore.
Love.
I give you what you need. That's all. I'm talking about taking care of each other the best you can. What's wrong with taking care of a woman? She takes care of you.
Friendships.
Wink and our necklace says best friends forever.
Actually, we want it to say forever. I don't think you guys will be best friends forever, no offense. But sometimes you grow apart, and maybe she'll find a new best friend. They end up doing everything together.
I gotta fix my hers. Oh my god.
God, if you let it in, hell!
Hey everybody, thank you so much for listening to today's episode of Sadie and Friends. It's a brand new episode, as it is every Monday through Saturday. Did you know that I started doing a Saturday show that's just pop culture based, Ryan?
Are you asking me or are you asking the general?
I know. I am asking you because I can't hear what other people are saying out there. But
you know, I did know. Why? Because you told me.
Yeah, but did you listen?
I have not yet. Bonk!
That is so rude of you. How far behind are you on your wife's podcast?
Not very far at all, actually. I like to listen to the next day or the day of.
Well, I'm like obsessed with doing this Saturday show because I love pop culture. I love talking about what's going on. One of the things that I talk about this week is the Snow White movie that just came out. And it's kind of one of those CGI, part act, like real actors, part CGI.
Live action Snow White.
Yes, that's actually how you say it. It's a live action Snow White. It actually has the worst rating ever on Rotten Tomatoes. And they say
wait, the worst rating ever of any movie?
The worst rating ever of any movie on Rotten Tomatoes.
That can't be right.
They say that this is set up to be the worst movie. Now, this seems a little much.
Hold on. Disney produced the worst movie ever.
They say that this is on its way. This movie is on its way to being literally the worst movie that has ever been made, which I cannot even believe it.
Worst movie ever?
Yes. So they spent over $100 million to have this movie made in the first week, in the first weekend, which is opening weekend, which is usually the best weekend for a movie. It only made $34 million. I almost said 1,000.
Wait, do you think it's bad because it's a bad movie? Because they took the Snow White story, right? Like it's like already a movie. So
well, listen,
right?
So here's where they made it different. They took the Snow White movie and they did the CGI part of it is mostly the Seven Dwarfs, which that has caused controversy because a lot of little people have come out and have said, these are jobs that are few and far between for little people. And so this.
Yeah, but is there really anybody that looks like Grumpy the Dwarf?
Right. So that's what Disney is coming back and saying, like, this was just kind of the way that we did it. And then another thing that's different in the Snow White movie from the original, which came out, I think, in 1934, I think is the year. But another thing that is different is there is no Prince Charming, apparently.
Oh,
and it's kind of one of those things where they're like, Snow White is going to find her own way, and Snow White is a strong, independent woman.
Okay.
And another big issue that they're having with this Snow White movie is the fact that Rachel Ziegler, who plays Snow White, has done some really bad, cringy interviews. Like, for example,
Like Blake Lively cringe.
well, nothing is worse than Blake Lively. I'm just
Okay.
going to tell you that. And do you want to bring that up?
Nope.
Because you know I'm going to
Nope.
jump in. Why would you bring it up?
Shouldn't done that.
Going back to Snow White, she has done, Rachel Ziegler, who again played Snow White, has done some really cringy interviews, including they were asking her, what did you think of the original Snow White? Which I think back on the original Snow White, and I feel like it's beautiful. It's like amazing for being the first ever animated movie, which this was the first ever Disney animated movie that came out. And she said that she only saw it once. She thought that it really scared her, which is fair. I mean, when you're a kid, you get scared. But she said she also feels like the Prince Charming in the movie essentially was a stalker that she ended up marrying, which sent the wrong message. Why would you say that if that's your employer, Disney? And so
Was this before she did Snow White?
No, this was after. She was on a press junket and she's talking about this, and she's saying, in the original Snow White, essentially she meets a man and then he stalks her, and it's just really creepy. Those were her words.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I don't even know who this Rachel Ziegler. So I'm looking her up. She's like 23. What has she been in? Let's see. Like, she can't be.
Well, I got another point here to make.
Okay.
The other point that I want to make is the fact that, and this is going to sound really bitchy of me, so I'm just going to throw it out there because this is how I feel. In the movie, as we all know, the evil witch wants to be as beautiful as Snow White. She's like incredibly threatened by Snow White, and she wants to be as beautiful as Snow White. And so she, that's what the whole movie is based on. But I gotta say, I think Gal Gadot, is it Gadot or Gadot? I never know.
Wonder Woman?
Yes. What is Wonder Woman's name? Gal Gadot?
Sure. Go with that.
Okay. I'm going to go with that. I say it different every single time. But the thing about it is, I think she is like 10 times hotter than this Rachel Ziegler girl. You bitch! Which I know is not very feminist of me. And I know it's really bitchy again to compare.
Is Wonder Woman the witch? She's the evil
witch. Yes.
I'm looking this up.
So they picked like a super gorgeous woman to be jealous of a girl who's like me. She's pretty cute, but she's nothing where I'm like, damn.
Oh, and I'm looking at the photo. They also did her up. She's attractive. That's Gail.
She looks really gorgeous in it. And so that's another thing that people are saying why this might be the worst movie that's ever been made, is because it's so incredibly unrealistic. The fact that she'd be that threatened by the girl that plays Snow White.
Okay. I didn't know if it was awful because the story changes, which it sounds like it is. But also, you said the movie came out in the 30s. So it's a 90-year-old movie. Maybe it just didn't age well.
Well, maybe it was just
when's the last time you watched Snow White?
Oh, I mean, it's been so long. But I know I've watched it more than once. I mean, it's a great movie.
I don't know if I've ever watched it all the way through.
Oh, really? No, when I was a kid, I loved Disney movies. And so I love Snow White. I think it's a great story. And I never once watched it and thought, wow, the Prince Charming is a psychotic stalker. Yeah. But if we're going to jump into the whole Disney vibe, let's talk a little bit about Cinderella and the fact that dude couldn't identify her at all unless she fit into the shoe again.
Well, hold on. Let's go back to the stalker thing.
Okay.
Like, she's like a stalker. The guy, Prince Charming, is a stalker, and she ended up being with him. That goes back to it's so tough to be a guy. It's so tough because girls will be like, well, he's not showing interest in me. The line between interest and stalking is dependent on how the woman feels.
That's 1,000%. Because if you think of any situation, if a guy does it and you are not into the guy, it does come off as creepy. Say that there's a guy and, okay, let me just throw out an example. there's a guy and he doesn't know you very well, but he's met you and he thinks you're very attractive. And so he'd like to reach out to you. He doesn't have your cell phone number. And so maybe he goes on to your work website. I actually know somebody this happened to, and finds your number on the work website and then reaches out to you. If you as a woman are attracted to the man, that is romantic. If you are not attractive, that is like what?
Stalkery.
That is
I
so
don't want to.
creepy.
That's controlling, whatever. But you got to be into it, and it's not stalkery.
If you're into it, it's not stalkery.
It's such a hard thing to be a guy, because girls always want them to pursue, be pursued rather, right?
Yeah.
And that's hard.
But only if there's an attraction there. It really does suck for guys. I got to say, it sucks for girls in a lot of ways, but it really also sucks for guys, especially in 2025. But they say that this might be the worst movie that's ever been made, which is very hard for me to believe because I've seen some really bad ones.
We've walked out of movies. I think only one, actually.
Yes. And I remember it. It's the Mark Wahlberg movie. And it was called Max Payne. How dumb were we to go to a movie called Max Payne and expect it to actually be good? So,
okay. So it's going to be the worst movie ever, which I don't know. We'll see, right? Who knows? But right now, we're not going to many movies, and really we're not watching many TV shows either right now, or at least I'm not. I don't know about you, but they're apparently we're like hitting this like, whatchamacallit, this like really good period of TV that's out. I'm everywhere I turn. It's, have you watched White Lotus? Have you watched Adolescence? Have you watched Invincible? Have you watched? I'm like, I've not watched any of these at all.
First of all, I've only heard of White Lotus. I haven't heard of any of these other ones that you're
Adolescence is like the trending thing right now.
See, but I don't know really what's trending that well. Anyway, listen to my Saturday show about everything trending. Yeah, I know. I'm the person to go to. But I do have to say, I did watch season 1 of White Lotus.
I don't even know what it's about.
White Lotus. It's about this resort that people go to. I know this season, I think it's in Thailand. And it's just about this group of people that come together and they all have different stories and they kind of interloop, but you see each character and you see the story behind why they're going on the vacation. And I've heard, I didn't think season 1 was like all that funny.
But wait, hold on. So they're on vacation. Just explain this to me. They're on vacation at a hotel.
Yes.
Where at?
At a resort. I don't remember what last season was, but I know that this season 2 is, I guess, in Thailand.
Okay. So it's a different resort all the time?
I think so. Yeah.
So is it different people, like American Horror Story where it changes out?
Yes. Well, American Horror Story is different because they use the same actors as different characters every season. This is not that way. This is different actors, different characters.
Every season's different.
Every season is different.
And it's called the White Lotus Hotel?
No, it's just called White Lotus.
Okay. See,
I feel like I feel like you would not be into White Lotus season 1. So, I mean, but you know what? White Lotus season 2 has one of my favorite unknown actors, Walter Goggins?
Walter Goggins.
Ta-da! Look who it is.
This motherfucker.
Have you seen his glasses?
No, but I think he's amazing. If you're watching on social media or the YouTube, I'll post a picture of his glasses. Are they out of control?
So he developed this line, and you got to check him out because it's like a hybrid of. Imagine if you took Kenny Powers skiing, and he developed his own sunglasses.
Stop it!
Right, and they're called Walter Goggins goggle glasses.
Can I see a picture, please? And again, I will post a picture because I know this is most people are listening, but
yeah,
those are the weirdest things is he serious? He looks like a bug.
So it was actually, there was a website, I think maybe it was Squarespace or something like that, bought time on a Super Bowl ad for like, hey, your company can develop them. Look, Walter Goggins goggle glasses did it. Right. And again, they look like you should be going skiing.
But
right?
But is this a joke or is this for real?
It's a real company. And everyone was like trying to figure it out. Is that a real company? And it's a real company.
You know what they look like to me? Okay. Those are essentially pit viper glasses.
With like a band around them and whatnot. And they're like tighter than pit vipers.
And they're bigger, I guess.
They're bigger. Look, he looks like a fly.
Bigger. He looks like a fly. That is so great.
Which is also awful because I love Walter Goggins.
I do too. If you don't know who we're talking about, you've got to Google and you'll be like, oh, I think I know who this guy is. He's one of those actors that's in a lot of different projects, but he's just kind of like,
what is he? Uncle Baby Billy?
He is Uncle Baby Billy on Righteous Gemstones, which if you've not watched that, please watch it because it's hilarious. It's about mega churches and it's just great. I love it. How did we morph from Snow White being the worst movie of all time to this guy's glasses that make people look like a bug?
You know, I don't really know. TV shows maybe, but yeah. So, no, he's on that. He's on White Lotus.
He is season 2.
So I was just looking at like the top trending binge worthy shows. He's in Righteous Gemstones, which I do want to see really bad. This is the end of it's like season 4.
What have you seen with Righteous Gem? Now, Righteous Gems. You've just seen.
I haven't seen season 3 or season 4.
Yeah, I haven't. Well, I've seen season 3. I haven't started on season 4. This show is so good. It has John Goodman. Listen to us. But I have to say, TV is like a passion of mine. And Righteous Gemstones is so well done. It's so funny. It also has Jennifer Nettles, who was in the band Sugarland. And it's so good. It's so funny. But yeah, Walter Goggins is in that. Should we segue? Because I am absolutely floored by these poor astronauts that were.
You know what? Good segue there by just saying segue. Come up with something. Speaking of like Walter Goggins goggle glasses, those kind of look like astronaut glasses.
No.
You could go that way.
It's more natural to say
just
segue. We're going to segue now into something else. These astronauts, I've learned a couple of things because I have become obsessed with this story. They were supposed to be in space for only 8 days, and they ended up being in space for hundreds, literally, of days. Now,
wasn't that like 8 or 9 months?
It was, yes, 9 months, which is the time it takes to grow a human being inside of you and birth it, which is crazy to me. But they were, again, supposed to be gone for only 8 days.
And we're 8 or 9 months.
Yeah. And it was,
was it because
months.
Like they spotted something with the.
Hey guys, break it in here. Just really quick. Give me one quick second to talk about show sponsor Christiana Salon Spa. We are coming up, guys, at the end of the school year. I know that we're almost to spring break and we still got some time left. You know how fast that's going to go? It goes so fast, and then summer is here. And then you know what's going to happen? Then you got the kids home all day long, and that could be really stressful. Maybe so stressful you break out in pimples everywhere. I mean, not only are you exhausted and tired of doing crafts and playing with Play-Doh, but now you got pimples everywhere. I mean, why not take a break and go see my friends at Christiana Salon Spa, get a nice facial, maybe a hot stone massage, hand the kids over to your husband and say, I'm out of here, or vice versa. They also, I don't want to say they service men because that sounds weird, but they also have treatments for men as well. So why not go on to ChristianaSalonSpa.com? Christiana Salon Spa, a proud sponsor of the Sadie and Friends podcast.
Heat shield coming back, or what was it?
There was something that went wrong where they couldn't make it back. I don't know. But what I'm fascinated about is, oh my God. And again, if you are watching on YouTube, I'm going to post before and after pictures of these astronauts because it's incredibly troubling what space does to your body. If you think about it, so 286 days, that's how long they were in space. This is what it does to the human body. They say the biggest risks associated with an extended time in space come from the exposure of microgravity. So away from the pull of Earth's gravity, that's where you're going to get, your muscles are going to start weakening, and you're going to kind of just start kind of wasting away because you don't have, you're not doing any exercise. You're floating around, damn it. And additionally, since the body is 70% water, the fluid shit, like this is all the things that you don't think about, but the fluid shifts dramatically when it's in low gravity. And so it's like if you were hanging upside down. So these astronauts have come back and their heads are big. They got big old heads. NASA says that over 5.6 liters of liquid can migrate upwards in the body and just land in your head. What do you think of that? I have more.
They just aged. I'm looking at photos.
I know.
From when they went up to when they came down. I didn't know that. I mean, I know that there were some weird things in space, but I thought people have been in space for that long before.
I don't know.
I know they were unexpectedly up there, but people have been in space for a longer time, right?
And probably didn't have giant heads at the end of it. Now, phase one, I know. Again, I will post a picture because he's showing it to me and it is like freaky to me. Now, phase one of NASA astronauts post mission, what they're going to do now that they're back, they have this whole rehabilitation plan and it focuses on regaining strength. Now, these astronauts are having to learn how to walk again because they don't have the muscles in their body that they did before. So they're incredibly weak and they've lost in a lot of ways the abilities to walk. So they can't even walk. They're also having to do exercises, cardio reconditioning. They're having to build their body up. Now, how pissed off would you be if you were supposed to be in space for 8 days and you ended up being in space for 9 months?
But how pissed off would you be if they're like, hey, we knew about this problem, but we sent you down anyways? That's what happened to Columbia.
Well, they say that most astronauts return to their remission fitness level after 45 days. So they're saying that within 45 days, but that's for a normal mission where these two, again, were up there for 9 months. And so they're saying that it could take months or even years for these two astronauts to recover. Now, you may be saying to yourself, well, they probably get mucho buckos for doing this. Each of the astronauts annually make $150,000. Ryan, how much do you think they make per day if they, like, what would be essentially overtime?
Time and a half?
$5 a day?
Are you kidding me?
Swear to you.
Hold on. Wait. If they go over their hours, it's an additional $5 stipend.
That's right, Ryan. You get $5 additional a day for incidentals. Now, if you're in the world of business where maybe you travel for business, incidentals, that's like, oh, shoot, I forgot my toothbrush, or I think I want to get a hamburger to eat. But that's all they get additionally. So if you think about it, they didn't get a lot of extra money. Now, again, my question was, could they come back and sue and be like, damn, you left us up there for months on end?
Oh, you think they didn't have something in place?
Right. They say that the contracts that they have to sign are so in depth that they're probably not going to be able to get anything more. They're going to have to learn to walk again. Their heads are huge, which is going to make the walking and learning process a little bit trickier.
You know what? They need an endorsement. They need a sponsorship with like a medical company, like the
or
Hims, gym. Oh yeah. But like the pharmaceutical companies, they could pay like the anti-aging stuff.
Yeah.
Like put some cream on and look what happens after you come back in space.
Yeah, that's
call me.
true.
I'll be your agent.
You could do that. So yeah, I was just reading a little bit each day about these poor astronauts, because that's really all they're letting out about is just kind of like trickles here and there. But I think it's absolutely crazy how much they got paid for that. And I wonder if they're going to get any additional funds like, oh, wow, our bad. We're going to probably give you a little bit of extra cash on this one. I don't know.
Segue.
Okay, so we're going to segue back to a Disney movie, which I kind of wish I would have segued back then, and since we were still on that topic. But this is a beloved, you love this movie, Ryan. It's Monsters, Inc.
Such a good movie.
It came out in 2001. Now, the director, Pete Docter was his name, and he said that he did not want the ending to end the way that it was. His original vision for the movie Monsters, Inc. was that Sully and Mike would push the kid back in the door and say goodbye, and that would be the end of it.
Oh, no. This
Yes.
was such a good ending. This is the one where the kid got lost, Boo.
Yeah.
And they put him back, and then the door got shredded. And so they couldn't go back. Solely the big guy, John Goodman, couldn't go back to see Boo.
No!
Yeah.
And then Billy Crystal,
Mike Wazowski.
He built the door from scraps so he could go see Boo again. And he opened the door and
So originally that was not in the original cut of the movie. They did a test screening for audiences, and out of everyone there, only 1/3 of the audience liked how the movie ended.
Sure.
Now, the people were other writers that were working on this movie. They were pushing for this ending that we eventually ended up getting with Monsters, Inc. But they were pushing for the ending, like, let him go back and see this little girl. But the director, again, fought and was like, no, we don't want to do that. And he ended up not winning. Of course, this movie went on to win a bunch of different awards. And the ending of the movie is so beloved because I feel like you get that closure of like, he got to see the little girl again. But I found it really interesting reading this article that the director, he didn't want that. He actually fought in order to have that ending not be that ending. So he's a monster. Thanks for listening.
Okay, segue.
That's really all I have.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Okay, now listen to this. Listen to this, because this has blown my mind. I am not an overly religious person. I do have faith, but I feel like I don't have it fully dialed in at the age of 42. One day I hope to have it fully dialed in, but I just don't yet. But there is a boy that died. April, let me see, hang on. Okay, there's a boy that died. His name was Actus.
You sure about that?
No, Acutus.
Nope.
How the heck do you say that name?
Atticus?
No, it's not Atticus. Carlo, it's spelled Acutus. There was a boy that died. His name was Carlo Actus.
You did it again.
Did what?
And he passed away at the age of 15. But here's the thing. He never like started decomposing. He is literally exactly the way that he was when he died of leukemia back in 2006. His body has stayed in pristine condition, and he's never. So the Catholic Church ended up making him a saint. And right now his body is being kind of transferred where followers of the Catholic religion can go and visit the body of this boy because nothing is happening to him.
Like a McDonald's?
And he died in 2006. His body has been encased with a wax layer molded over him to look like his body prior to burial. But they say that, yes, he has just he's not changed at all. So they made him a saint. This completely weirds me out because how do you explain that? You really can't. But also, number two, what weirds me out is the whole idea of when somebody dies, looking at their body. I know for a lot of people, it brings them closure, and I guess I understand that. But coming from a Catholic upbringing myself, which, you know, I say that loosely, but my grandparents were incredibly Catholic. And so every funeral that we have been to for that side of the family, it's an open casket.
Yeah, I get this, though. Like, because I've thought about this.
Yeah.
We went through a spell there. What was it? Like in a period of a year, we had like 4 really close people to us pass away.
Yeah.
But they were in different parts of the country. So by the time that we got there, and each one of them was also cremated. So by the time that we got there, there was no casket or anything like that. And it still kind of weirds me out. It weirds me out, but I think about it like my buddy Steve, who passed away, never got to see him. You know what I mean? My grandparents, both of them.
So
right?
Would you have wanted to see them after they died? Because
I don't know. I don't know if I'd want to see them. That's not like something I'd do like, oh, I really wish I could have. But to me, I never saw them passed away or.
So do you feel like you don't believe it?
Sometimes I think that they're still alive, but I don't know if that's true with everybody. Like even people that you have seen in the cast, sometimes you're like, oh, I should call them. I should whatever. You know what I mean? Does it make sense?
No, that totally makes sense.
My brain, I'm like, I should call them. Like, oh, nope. Like I had this yesterday. I didn't tell you about this, but we're out to eat for a birthday, right?
Yeah.
And I look across the way and I see my brother-in-law who passed away.
Oh my God, I saw that guy.
Too?
And I didn't want to bring it up because I didn't want to upset you, but I was like, damn, that guy looks like...
That looks like Bud.
That looks like Bud.
Yeah. And I didn't say anything because we're out with like 20 people. So I didn't be like, hey, look at, but I never saw Bud's body. Right.
Right.
And so it just kind of...
It was shocking when I saw this person. I know. I totally saw that, but I didn't want to point it out. But I'm kind of glad you saw it too.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why we got there, but I don't know. Should you want to see the body? I
don't know. This kid is on display. I mean, they're shipping him all over, and people are taking these. Is it pilgrim? How do you say that? Pilgrimage. They're taking this pilgrimage to go and travel to see the boy that just stays the same. I mean, that hasn't changed at all. I think it's so fascinating, but I do not understand the concept of looking at somebody after they've died because you don't look like you should. You look completely different, in my opinion. After you've been embalmed, your body, I think, changes and you don't look right. I never go up and fully look at a dead person because it's so morbid to me. And you know what else is morbid? My parents and my grandparents have photos of people in their casket. Like that was a thing at one time.
Oh, not even in their casket. You'd set people up.
Well, some people still actually do that where they will sit in position. I had read today that some guy loved Snickers candy. And so he wanted to be buried in a coffin that's like Snickers themed.
Snickers satisfies.
You are bouncing around.
No, because we're essentially talking about dead people and how you want to be presented after you die.
So he wants to be in a Snickers casket?
And he did. The family made it happen where it looks like a Snickers. And I've never loved anything that much where I'd be like, I want you to bury me in it.
Sure.
Nope. I'm going to end this episode by saying I want you to fry me to a crisp, every single part of me.
That's fun to think about.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of Sadie and Friends. Please hit that automatic download. And the best thing that you can do is just spread the word and tell people about the podcast. And thank you again to our wonderful sponsors. Thank you so much for listeners. I'm blown away by how many wonderful people are listening out there. And sorry, today was kind of a downer. I feel like it was a negative. I don't know. It's kind of beautiful that people are finding faith in something so incredibly tragic of a boy who lost his life to leukemia. I think that's really interesting. So I will put all these stories up on social media so you can go check out anything that we talked about. Sorry for jumping around so much, but you know what? It's the beginning of the week and my mind's just bouncing around. Thanks for listening, and we'll be back tomorrow. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of Sadie and Friends. Be sure to set it to automatic download and follow on all social media. I also post a lot of clips on our YouTube channel, so go and check that out. Just search for Sadie and Friends. It's just that easy. And one more time, I just have to give a big thank you to show sponsor number 3. I love them so much. It's Garage Door Service and Sales, and they may be the third one that I'm talking about today, but they're always going to be one of number ones in my heart. The other 2 are number ones as well. Does that make sense? Let's talk about garage doors, or let's talk about estate gates. Whether you need something fixed, you need something put up, you need something brand new, or whatever your needs are. If they're garage door related, Garage Door Service and Sales, reach out to my friend Patrice and Tony. Give them a call today. Garage Door Service and Sales, a proud sponsor of the Sadie and Friends podcast.